Good morning, guys, and welcome back to Dusting Off Warlord, Saga of the Storm, featuring Gorthos Shadow's Axe. What a name that is. You just know that's an evil name right there. This is the Dwarf Uncommon Warlord that came out of Into the Accordlands. I do believe I am going to be kind of reviewing and covering each one of them. I don't think they're all going to be for the Saga format. One of them, especially, I believe it's what is this guy? Roan of the Deep Brook. I'm really excited to make a Roan deck for Ancients. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. But right now we are looking at this Dwarf Barbarian. So I actually really like. Well, one, I really like Barbarians. Two, we have only really had one other warlord, if memory serves, that actually is not just a barbarian himself, but focuses on barbarians with the Adiakar. So. Yeah, so Gorthos Shadow's Axe, he's a level 5 evil fighter. He's a dwarf barbarian. He is stalwart, which I believe is... I really should have come prepared. You can't be spent or stunned by opposing actions. That is really nice. We don't play exhaustion because, and I don't know how many effects there are like that in this set. I want to say it's, not... Is it Denskin? I can't even remember that. Again, I'm not familiar with the Saga names. Is it Denskin Regalia? Whichever the Cleric Regalia is that stuns things, I have gotten some incredible value out of that card. And he's immune to it, which is pretty nice. His stats are not especially good. I do like that he has the 4th hit point. For a fighter, his attack ability is really not good. His armor class is not very good. 15 is, I guess, maybe average. Plus 7 skill. Freaking Ephraim Dawntreader only has plus 6 skill, and he's a paladin. I thought paladins had divine grace, but whatever. So Gorthos, he just has a... outside of his stalwart trait, he has this limited order. Your target barbarian gains plus 5 attack, plus 2 hit points, and an additional melee strike base plus 0 while attacking this turn. The target may not perform actions other than to attack or maneuver this turn. Ooh, good lord. So, one, I really like that all of the uncommon warlords, because I believe the purpose behind them being uncommon is so that maybe you're not stuck with just the draft warlords in a warlord draft. I want to say that Kingswood Games is really pushing the draft idea. Gorthos' ability, this looks to me like, as far as a single effect, this is a very high magnitude effect. Plus 5 attack, plus 2 hit points, and an extra strike. That's a lot. It also, though, has probably the most narrow list of targets for it. Obviously, he can target himself with it, but... it does have to be a barbarian. Now, it doesn't have to be a dwarf barbarian, which is nice, and I really love that they're doing that now. A lot of these effects, especially, again, in these uncommon ones, but just all together, there's a lot more things that are not faction-specific, and I do like that. So, now, this does give you a pretty wild power buff, but that drawback of may not perform actions other than to attack or maneuver, that is a really big drawback. Actions are performing orders or reacts. I believe the wording is probably a little bit more, it might be more technical than that. But basically, you can't equip items. You can have items equipped to you, but you cannot do the ordered equip an item. You can't play, the fact that you can't play reacts, oh, that is freaking awful. It's awful, but it's a cool ability. And I like this guy. I'm actually really looking forward to playing him during our next gaming session. I have, at this point, probably played more Warlord in the past 2 months than, I don't know, maybe the past couple of years. We used to only play, maybe once every 6 months or once a year. But yeah, we've actually started to, playing over Discord has, it's really been a game changer. So, yeah, okay, so what I'm going to be doing with this guy. Now, this is not going to be, unlike Wasan Wolf Spirit, this is not going to be commons, uncommons only. The term I used was poor man's. I think a couple people use the term pauper format, which, yeah, it's about, yeah. This one, I am not restricting myself to that, but there's only a couple things that are not common and uncommon. In addition, even though I'm looking forward to playing this guy, I'm not really going to go look for the things that I could potentially add in here. Pretty much, they're outside of a very couple things that I picked up, mostly for Ephraim, because I'm pretty sure he's going to be the guy I'm sticking with for the foreseeable future, as far as, like, I want to build for him, I want to go out and get stuff for him. Luckily, I pulled out of the boxes, the 5 boxes that I got, most of the stuff that I need for him, but not really gonna hunt too many things down for Gorthos, and I'm not pulling stuff out of the Ephraim deck to put in this. So we're starting a 2 Sunforged Smith and and 3 chant. Now, Sunforged Smith is pretty interesting because he targets one of your wounded. I really love this, especially in Memoriam. Oh, it was so engaging to be like, my frenzy just took a wound. Do I heal him with Mormanian and ready him because he's only got 2 hit points because I didn't draw a run towards home. But if I do that, he's not wounded and I can't use the Sunforged Smith with him to get myself an extra strike. It was so engaging. So this guy, when Gorthos uses his ability on a barbarian, they can't perform actions, but you can still cause them to make melee strikes with things like Sunforged Smith. And again, the fact that you can unstun things with this too. Oh, these guys are freaking incredible. And then the 3 chance is just because I don't know what else to do as a starter. The one in the middle will have, what is that, 15 AC, and the 2 on the sides will have 13. Nothing amazing, it's a starter. I mean, I maybe could put something else in here. I don't really know what it would be, though. I'm perfectly fine with these. So, a lot of fighty type characters in here. There are a couple other support pieces. So we have 3 copies of Dress, which your dwarf characters in this rank gain +3 armor class while they have 1 more wounds. I don't really know how often that ever actually really applies. Really what it does is it causes them just to kill this guy first, although that is taking a strike away, so yeah. And potentially, he's not a barbarian, so you can't give him hit points. If you were playing Final Blessing and you could happen to Final Blessing this guy, that might be kind of cute. We also have 3 copies of Tunnel Vanguard. So this guy, I was honestly not a super big fan of this guy until I saw him played with Karak. I think he's a great starter with Karak because when you're not starting, we're not playing Karak. These guys, they feel very odd because you just chip away at the ones on the side. The problem is with Karak, he can stop the second swing. That would kill one, and it's like, do I really want to waste an action not killing one? I mean, I guess eventually I'm going to have to, but yeah, these are just in here basically these are functioning as another version of Dress. I don't really expect these things to last very long. If they're not clumped together, they've only got 1 hit point, and they've only got 8 armor class. But if you're trying to keep your barbarians from dying, I mean, it's a potential strike they're going to have to throw on one of these guys. So, actually, real quick, I should have ordered this better. I think that's all the support dudes. Yes, that's all the support guys. So next, now we have a bunch of fighty guys. So we've got Hrun Instigator. Again, I'm a big fan of this guy, mostly in Mormania. I really like the Memoriam, however you say her name. He was really great in her because this is a way, if people didn't want to punch your frenzies, you can do it for them. You can have, because his ability, so he's got a limited order. He's a barbarian, so in theory, you could use Gorthos on this guy, but he wouldn't be able to use his order afterwards. Limited order, so once per turn, target an opposing character within 1 rank. The target performs a melee strike. After the strike, Hrun Instigator... Yeah, if I said Investigator, sorry, that's not what it is. It's Instigator. He's instigating a freaking battle here. After the strike, Hrun Instigator performs a melee strike with advantage. Now, you can't attack... melee strikes from attacks cannot target your own guys, but melee strikes generated by things that are not the attack order can, and so I would use this to put wounds onto the frenzy. All of a sudden, he's pissed, and... So in here, he's mostly just in here because he's a barbarian. He can fight. Now, I do play Frenzy in here as well, obviously. But because I'm not playing, like, healing, it's not as safe to do that because Frenzy's only got 2 hit points. I mean, under Gorthos, he does have more than 2 hit points, and oh, that's a good time. But there's some Scornergy there. I'll get to that in a second. So, yeah, 3 copies of the Instigator. And then we've just got some other barbarians for level 3s. This is not going to surprise anybody, but 3 copies of Hazak of Shadow, 3 copies of Frenzy, and then 3 copies of Thunic Yeti, because again, Gorthos' ability does not require you to be a dwarf, and the Yeti is a barbarian, so that's pretty freaking awesome. Hazak of Shadow, he can equip 2 weapons. I don't think I have 2 weapons for him to equip in here, so that doesn't really matter. Hazak of Shadow and adjacent characters gain +5 attack while wounded. Yeah, and he's level 3, so he's pretty cool. And then Frenzy, I mean, I think I've covered Frenzy already. He's a really old card. He came out in Call to Arms. Really, really freaking solid guy. Okay, if you can hear that, I'm sorry. Yeah. After he has a react. After he suffers wounds, he gets +6 attack, and his melee strikes inflict an additional wound. That's not once per turn, so if you're able to get this to go off multiple times, there's very, very little that this guy can't chainsaw through. It's really, really glorious. And then Thunic Yeti, his stats are about the same. He has a 3rd hit point, which is really, really nice. Lower armor class. His attacks are comparable. Actually, his attacks are strictly better. He has a kill react. Characters that were adjacent to the killed character must succeed with a fortitude save, DC 18 or spend. Ha! Opposing Gorthos' laugh at that because they don't care. The Scornergy part, and Scornergy, pretty sure I have a image I put in when I talk about Scornergy. It's a term from War Machine where things that are supposed to work together can't work together because even though they're supposed to, the rules don't really allow. It's kind of like anti-synergy. In this case, Frenzy has this incredible. Frenzy's react is why you're playing him. Like outside of his react, there's nothing really all that good about him. Dunaketi also has a really solid react, and neither of these are once per turn. The problem is once they've been hit by Gorthos' ability, they can't use them because they can't perform actions. So, oh, it's so weird. I don't know how the timing on this is going to work out. Again, especially because I'm not really playing healing in this deck. But you really want Frenzy to be able to react at least once before he gets the, Gorthos inspires his rage to go eat everything. I don't know if it's going to work. I haven't played this, and I'm not a very good Warlord player, so I don't know. But that's what we're doing. This is extraordinarily straightforward as far as the character base. Play barbarians, have them punch things, use Gorthos to punch even better, and your guy probably dies at the end of the turn, but whatever. So to facilitate the getting up to punch, we've got 3 copies of Riding Horse and 3 copies of Warhorse. Actually, I believe... Yes, going into the actions, we also have 3 copies of Prime Positioning. So these 9 movement cards are... I don't know if this is going to be enough. It's so different because when I was playing Ephraim has so far impressed me so much with his just how that deck plays. Like you have these level 1s that turn into movement, and so I've never had any issues getting my guys ready to the front to start punching things. I don't think that's really going to be the case here. I don't think these guys are fast enough to do that, but whatever. And you can diversify these a bit, like you could put in Meredith Mare or Andover Griffin. I think I only have a couple. It might only be 2 Andover Griffins. The Meredith Mares are level 6, and so your characters, I guess these could equip it in rank 2. Hazak would only be able to equip it in rank 3. I don't know. Those should probably be in here. I don't care, whatever. So then, as far as other stuff goes, we've got 3 copies of Bardiche. These are the only weapons here. This is why Hazak won't really ever be dual wielding. These, I don't think these are super amazing, but they're doing 2 things. Well, actually, they're doing 3 things. I guess 2 things that lead to a 3rd thing. +5 attack is a really big attack mod. +2 armor class, however, that is a sizable bump in your defensive abilities. This is a polearm, shield, gauntlet. Actually, I don't believe Hazak actually can dual wield when he has these under the new rules, because dual wield is an actual rule. You can equip 2 weapons is the old way that ability worked, and you could equip 2 weapons and a shield. Dual wield, I don't think you can because it's talking about slots. So like item slots, you have like a weapon slot, a shield slot, and dual wield just lets you equip a 2nd weapon in your shield slot. Now, again, most of the time, those are going to go on the fighting guys, because I don't really want Gorthos up front. Like, if he's up front, it's because I'm trying to close the game out with him. I don't really want him standing there, because I'm kind of playing him as a support fighter. But it is also somewhat important for his attack to go up. And again, this is all over the place. Whatever. It's organic. We have 3 copies of The Quick and the Dead. I really love this card. I'm so happy I pulled 3 of these. Actually, I probably would have picked up singles if I hadn't picked it, because I think this card is freaking incredible. Spend order. Each Warlord makes an initiative roll with a bonus equal to their attack. If your Warlord wins the roll, your target character performs 2 melee strikes. So again, if Frenzy's been hit by Gorthos' ability, he can't do anything. He can't play reacts or anything like that to make more strikes. But this would allow him to make 2 strikes, and these are 2 potentially, if Frenzy's gone off once before he's been Gorthos, that's what, plus 15? 2 plus 15s for 2 wounds. And so Gorthos, again, because his attack stat is really not good for a fighter, I'm pretty sure if I draw Quick and the Dead, I'm going to want a Bardiche on him, just to make sure to try to hedge my bet on winning that roll. Luckily, if you lose this roll, they don't get to let their characters make strikes. That would be very unfortunate, but just a couple other items, too. We've got 2 copies of Havadi on Stance, 2 copies of Bruntor's Helm. Really, I probably should make room for a 3rd Bruntor's Helm, because, again, Frenzy only having 2 hit points when you're not playing healing, it's kind of depressing. Havadi on Stance is just an extra strike, which is all good stuff. These are also both level 5, so the big beaters can equip this in rank 1. And then, the only other rare cards in the deck that violate the Paupers format, besides the Quick and the Dead, are 2 copies of Vanguard's Presence. I really, really like this card because I like playing supporty warlords like that. Like, obviously, I love going to the front sometimes too. But again, I don't want to do that with Gorthos unless I have no choice. This is giving you charisma at +0, so he needs a 13 to make it, which is not great, but really this is in here because spend order, spend Vanguard's presence, ready target lower level non-stunned character. So again, this is a way for if your frenzy spent to attack. I can't play things to ready him on himself, but he can be ready by the characters, so that's pretty awesome. I mean, you can potentially get, I mean, we'll say frenzy's ability hasn't even gone off, because just people don't want to punch him, because a lot of times people don't want to punch him. He's got, what is that, a +9, a +7, and a +5. I mean, that twice, that's acceptable right there, so I like that. And then 2 copies of Well Supply. This is just a way to potentially, because there's enough stuff in this deck, and there's enough characters that I think this is worth running. You can throw the Vanguard's Presence onto Gorthos, and his limited order doesn't even require him to spend, which is pretty awesome. And then potentially Steeds, or just anything for the Barbarians to help them out. Now, Gorthos is the only one in the deck who can play this, and this is... I don't know if this is a lot of spend orders that only one character can play, because we've got, again, 3 Quick in the Dead, so 3, 2 Well Supplied, so we got 7 cards that only he can play. I think it's acceptable. Actually no. He doesn't have to be the one to play the Quick in the Dead. Ooh, interesting. You could have a Frenzy or a Thunic Yeti play that instead. Okay, I think that's fine. Again, I have no idea how this is going to play out. It's barbarians, it's angry dwarf barbarians punching things, running at you with their little legs, and oh, it's going to be awesome. And then rounding it out, the only real defensive cards in the deck besides the Bruntor's Helm are 3 copies of I Have Your Back. Try to keep the frenzies alive. That's all I can say is try to keep them punching as long as possible. You could also use that again to, if they don't want to punch the frenzy, you can use that to have them punch him, and then Gorthos afterwards. Hopefully he won't die after. I mean, he'll probably die at the end of the turn, but getting those 2 extra hit points, I mean, that's pretty hit point stout there. So, and then you'll get some extra attack bonuses from Hazak of Shadow, which is yeah. Yeah, this might be kind of a shorter episode. I don't really have any experience to talk about because I've never played this. I do have some other things that I am considering running. I mentioned healing quite a bit because I think this might be better if I drop some stuff. I don't know if you need quite this many barbarians. Possibly dropping the Yetis, or basically just dropping some stuff and adding some ways to try to keep the frenzies alive. Beacon, I do have 1 copy of this. You can heal an adjacent non-warlord character, so healing frenzies, that's always great. His limited order to perform a melee strike for each wound on him, and then heal him. I guess you would have to do that if you wanted to keep healing stuff, because otherwise he'll die eventually. He's probably going to die anyway, whatever. But having clerics, you could include things like sacrifice. I guess technically I could play sacrifice now, because, I mean, I do that in Ephraim. I just have a couple low-level clerics. And the tunnel. I don't want to sacrifice a Sunforged Smith. Those guys are a little too valuable. But, I mean, you could play Sacrifice, Final Blessing I mentioned. Revitalizing Roots could also be pretty interesting. And the other one, Close Wounds. I think one of the reasons I think I didn't actually go this route was, 1, I only pulled 1 beacon. 2, in 5 boxes, I only pulled 2 copy of Closed Wounds. It's a common. I got 2 copies of it, so I'm like, I don't want 3. I only have 2, so whatever. Also, potentially a Jubilant Hatchling. So this is like a baby, like a not even a Blackwind baby dragon. This is like a dragon hatchling here. Actually, it is a hatchling. What am I talking about? It can't start in play and has a death react. Heal each of your characters within 1 rank. So you can, because they're probably not going to want to kill this, but you can kill it yourself with the Harun Instigator, because his strike doesn't have to target opposing characters. So yeah, you could potentially do that. I guess technically also your Sunforged Smith can cause someone to punch it. So, potentially some more healing. I don't know how well that would work out, because these guys... Now, the healing that I play in Ephraim, I'm going to try to keep referencing Ephraim, but I have so much more experience with him, because I've never played this. In Ephraim, even just the sacrifices by themselves have been, like, they've done very, very well at keeping me alive. They also, they put level 1 characters into my discard pile. This deck isn't doing any of that, and they're not getting a gigantic, maybe not gigantic, but they're not getting Ephraim's defensive buff to make them tankier, so I don't know if that would really work in here. I might try it out someday. I originally, I was running, I wasn't just running the Bardishes, I was actually diversifying my weapons, so in theory, I could potentially get Hazak to dual wield, or just have some variety. Nothric S Psych, I really, really love this weapon, and I really love, because this weapon, if my memory serves, used to be level 3. Now you're level 1, fighters can equip it in rank 1, and that is glorious. The problem with this is it's more Scornergy. If you're affected by Gorthos' ability, you can't use the S Psych's react, and the attack bonus on this is not very good. So... yeah, meh, yes. The same thing kind of applies to Rock Arm. I really do like the idea of Rock Arm because your Frenzy, if he's been hit once, there's not too much in this format that he's not one-shotting. The problem is you can't use it if you've been Gorthos, and most of the quality structure come from Gorthos, so that's unfortunate. Also, potentially looking at a scale mail, because again, these guys are not super durable. The Bardiche putting the Frenzy up to AC 17 is nice, but going up to 20 or 22 versus range strikes, that seems better. I don't know. This might make it in at some point. Again, it depends on how fast the Barbarians die. And then the other one, Skulk in Shadows. I do really like this card. The problem is actually originally this was in here. I think this was in here instead of the prime positioning. The problem with this is I didn't read it when I first put it in. It's level 1. That the reason why it was in here was because it was level 1. Roll spend order. Your target equal or lower level character journeys. That's the part I didn't read, was the equal or lower level. Like, yeah. But like the ability to have like the chance play this and potentially, obviously this doesn't work, but having the chance move your frenzies and your Thunic Yetis forward. Yeah, and so putting this in here, the only one who would really be able to make good use of this would be Gorthos. I guess technically Frenzy could play this on himself and hope that he gets either a 10, anywhere from a 10 to a 20 to move himself and someone else. So it's kind of like, it's still him sort of maneuvering. It's him moving himself forward. But yeah, I just didn't quite make it. And then it's so sad. I can't play Final Farewell in this deck because I can't play it when, I guess I could technically, but I can't play this if I've been tagged by Gorthos because I can't play actions. I know I keep repeating myself, but oh, I love this. This card is so freaking hilarious. Yeah, I've gotten a ton of mileage out of this with Ephraim, and it's great. Yeah, and again, I know you can only target one character with Gorthos' ability per turn, but I mean, yeah, it sounds so cool. Just watching this angry barbarian, and again, they can punch him, but it's almost like not quite wasted strikes. That's not quite the right way to look at it. But if he's been hit by Gorthos and he's got a total of 4 hit points, you can hit him, 3 times and he'll die at the end of the turn. But he might start making more attacks, and so if you kill him, it can almost feel like overkill sometimes. It's like trying to kill someone who's been final blessinged. But yeah, I'm very excited for the next game day. And then the other thing I was thinking, and I mentioned this, I think in Ephraim, is Crush. Now I have noticed in some of the games I'm playing, I haven't really seen someone use this term in the fan group, the term Voltron. I've always heard the term Uber. I've never ever heard the term Voltron used for a deck that just builds itself up like that. I can kind of see it, but we haven't seen one of those yet, but I have seen a lot of situations where I don't need to break a bunch of items because there's not a bunch. There's just 1 or 2 problem items. The big one was Breastplate of Power. My opponent having that was like, I really wish I could kill that. And I couldn't, and not even to kill the character, just to break the damn armor so that he can't buff everybody. And yeah, the +2 on it, very odd. It was very, very practical. One of the Ephraim games I played, he had an Auroch mail on, and again, my Ephraim has no business being on the front lines. He should stay in the back like what I'm doing with Gorthos, but no, he went to the front. And just that +3 armor class from the Auroch mail combined with his own trait, +5 armor class to all my random it was really, really nice. Like, they were surviving way longer than they had any business doing. So yeah, so potentially looking at Crush, this would be something that even though I can't use this when I'm Gorthosed up, hypothetically speaking, just randomly, Krun Instigator can play this, and that would be a +7 with advantage. You odds of hitting something important. Like I want to say the number I kept needing to roll was 13 or 16. It was one of those two, and a +7 with advantage, you got pretty good odds of making that. So yeah, after a couple more game sessions, I'm keeping a track of what's not necessarily what's winning, but like what am I noticing? Like what is problematic in terms of like I need to start bringing something. Again, right now that's the reason Crush is even coming to mind, because I don't even think I really need the attack buff. It's just breaking those random armors. So I don't know. Okay, we're waffling at this point. So guys, excuse me. Zach, calm down. Thanks for checking this out, guys. God bless you, and I'll catch you in the next video.